Donald Trump is on a tariff-imposing frenzy. After slapping Canada and Mexico with 25% tariffs and China with a 10% tariff, Trump's got his sights on the European Union.
Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union? You want the truthful answer, or should I give you a political answer? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tariffs do.
The European Union has treated us so terribly.
The shocking news comes after Trump followed through on his promise to whack Canada and Mexico with 25% tariffs.
Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them. And this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada. And we're not going to allow that.
The sweeping tariffs had a mixed reaction online, with this commentator saying, Trump understands leverage, and that's exactly what's happening here. Mexico and Canada have allowed millions of people to flood into the United States, taking advantage of weak leadership under Biden. Now, with Trump back in charge, the game has changed. If they want to play hardball, Trump is ready to make them feel the economic consequences. That's how real leadership works, using economic power to protect national security. But not everyone is convinced. Sky News contributor Brad Palumbo says a trade war will not be good for anyone.
Well, Donald Trump's trade war has begun after the president announced a 25% additional tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico and 10% on imports from China.
But it didn't take long for Canadian PM Justin Trudeau to respond with his own tariffs.
I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
And joining us now is Brad Palumbo from the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Brad, good to see you as always. I've got to say, get your popcorn ready. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it's going to be dramatic, that's for sure, but I'm actually really worried about where this is going. I'm not sure a full trade war will be good for anybody. I mean, one of the biggest reasons that people voted for Trump is that they were sick of years of the high cost of living, of inflation that was breaking every American family's budget, but especially the ones struggling to get by. But now these Trump tariffs on especially the ones on Mexico and Canada, they'll make cost of goods and services go up for Americans. Trump even kind of admitted that because he put a lower tariff on energy imports, saying because we don't want the price to go up too much, which is implicitly admitting that everything else, from foodstuffs to electronics to chemicals to transportation equipment and beyond, will get more expensive because of these tariffs. So when
Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Makakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Once this is like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in Hebrew, which means peace. And the war goes on. The misery continues. Doesn't matter who's in office. Somehow, some way, they're planning or plotting to make everybody's lives miserable. All right, and we was having a discussion at the end of the camp. Pastor Gabar brought up a book. Wow, I just forgot the name of the book, but I may forget the name of the book, but I remember the message. That's what matters. And the message was basically what he said about the license. License means trap. But the other thing was the executive order, which means a decree from the king or something like that. roughly paraphrasing. So everything that Trump has been seemingly being in the forefront as a face of doing all these miraculous things, this game-changing change to make America the golden age again, and all this other stuff. It just sounds good, which is a PR, which is public relations. Sounds real good, but it's not, because everything is going to lead to people's lives being miserable. That's all it's going to lead to. And it was a particular scripture that came in mind. I couldn't remember it until I found it through the Spirit. Brakateh Habashim Yahushai. That got me thinking about this, and I'm going to get this real quick. Proverbs, I'm going to start at 4 and 14. I'll start at 14. The point is at 6. Enter not in the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of the evil men. So our job is not the scripture says, envy not the oppressor, so forth. All these different terminologies and so forth, how things are done. Jake will study this man's law system, which is actually a smart thing to do, to understand your enemy. But that's what it's to see. That's the spirit. We was talking about that last night. Despite you play the game of their law against them, remember, this is their law. This is their doing. They still don't. When it comes to us, through the spirit, I was watching the Elder Makama's video. Well, I guess the guy that he said brother sent it to him, but the guy read the definition of black and the true definition of the law. So, just to make a long story short, the terminology for black, the definition of the other than voided light and so forth, is to admit that you're a no person. So the laws that's cooked up in the books affects you even though you study their law. So you understand their law, you understand their ways of doing things, yet it does not benefit you because it's not made for you. It says, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. So avoid this man's ways. Don't pass by it, because it's going to pass away. Verse 16, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. So, precept to that is Micah 2 and 1. It says, woe unto them that devises iniquity. So when you go into the word device, as a matter of fact, the Hebrew word is kashab. To think, plan, esteem, calculate, invent, make, judgments, imagine, count. So the key couple words is plan. That's the word I want to focus on. Well, plan and calculate. Invent. So if you're planning something, that's you thinking every angle, every way of doing things. But calculate. So what Trump said was right. America is nothing. It would take in everything, but nobody would take anything from America. So is a raw deal. But that's prophecy. That's the Revelations 18 chapter. Pretty much it tells you the merchants of the world make money off of this place. When this place gets destroyed, they're not gonna be wailing and hooting about the people and what happened to the land mass. They're gonna be concerned about their investments. Okay, so that's prophecy that it needs to happen. So Trump is trying to upset prophecy in somewhat, but it's not him that's trying to upset it. See, the elites plotted and calculated all these things. All right, they thought this thing through, because what it's going to lead to is going to lead to massive nationwide price increase, and it could be the smallest thing. You may get a tax break, which he's plotting to do, which he's not plotting, but everything is around is gonna be, so the dollar is gonna become worthless regardless. Now you already have BRICS nation that decides to not deal with the dollar in itself. Generally, they're not trying to trade with the dollar, so the dollar is losing its power, its purchasing power. But this is all by design. This is part of the iniquity. Part of the device. Sorry. It says, "Woe to them that devises iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it." Why? How do they practice it? They make things happen. The elites make things happen. It's crazy. I was just talking to my uncle about. He said, "What do you think about the plane crashes?" And I had to explain to him, And then he did it sneakily. But he understood what I was saying. And you always got a reference to old events. There's nothing new under the sun. Literally a couple years ago, you had a lot of train wrecks. So I was telling you, basically, every week was like a train crash or something, a derailment, which one that deals with traveling, commerce. So now you can't travel, all right? So after that, which all that train wrecking, derailment was going to what? It was going to the fact of what those trains were doing, what they was bringing. And all those trains had biological chemical weapons. And what did it do? It destroyed the surrounding areas. So now those areas became contaminated. And since they were contaminated, according to this man, that's why I'm bringing this up, he cooked up the books so that way the government could take land if it's contaminated, if it deemed that nobody can be in that land. So that's part of when the morning is light, they practice it. Because they can't go to sleep without finding some way to ruin millions of lives, mainly the elect, all right? Mainly Israel, because all these dramatic changes, it affects the poor. It affects the poor of the people. And the poor also happens to be blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. So it's because it is in the power of their hands. Why? Because Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Genesis, the 27th chapter. All right? That he would have the dew of heaven. That he would have power over things, over people. And that's what's being, that is what's really happening right now. So here it is, Esau pushing an agenda, and that agenda deals with harming everybody in the way they're living. And it goes, what's the other precept I had about it? Oh yeah, let me just get to the point. Revelation 13 and 11, and I'm going to jump to the other one. It says, "And I beheld another beast came up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb." So 2 horns like a lamb represent what? The political system. Because this is the same system that was followed prior to this system. Because America prides itself off of failed empires. One of the biggest failure of empire, not a failure of an empire, it was a vast empire, was the Roman Empire. And they also had 2 political systems, the patricians and the publicans, or something like that. One for the people and one for the very rich. So the 2 horns is the Republicans and the Democrats, and they spake as a dragon. When you go to the word dragon, in the Greek is draconian. So they spake as a draconian, meaning they passing these hard laws, these laws that nobody can deal with, and they judge people in the harshest manner. And now the world's starting to see. He came in, he spoke as a lamb, he was acting like a lamb. He changed things around, so to speak, within the first 2 weeks that he came into office. But now we're starting to see the horns. All right? Now we're starting to see what his true agenda was about. And his true agenda is what? Revelation 6, I believe it's... Yep, 6 and 6. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So, matter of fact, I was supposed to go to 5. It says, and when he had when he had opened the third seal, it's talking about the black horse, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, lo, a black horse. So is a black horse an entity? No. The black horse is a spirit that Esau carries itself too. Because Esau's the red horse, the black horse, and the pale horse. Because what he's bringing in all these things. All right? All of it. This is why they're going to have draconian laws. Their laws is going to back them up for doing what they about to do. It says, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a balance in his hand. Which goes into what? Famine, poverty, slavery. Because all this is going to leave people going relying on the same thing that they always been relying on. Wait, what? Just read that? Hold on. Let me go back to this. I'm going to use this one. Back at Proverbs, I think it says something else. 14 and 16 now. Is it 14? Yeah. I'm sorry, it's not 14. Let's see, I didn't read that. 4 and 16. It says, for they sleep not except they have done mischief. Ooh, when you go to the word mischief. Let's go to Greek and the Hebrew real quick. Mischief. The Hebrew word is ayara. Yara. Mischief, right? To be bad, be evil. And we know evil, when you break the word down, is eve, time, ill, bad. So to be bad or to bring bad times. To be displeasing, to be sad, to be injurious, which goes into what? Injuries, harming, right? This is why you have the pharmaceutical companies, instead of healing people, they keep them alive just to get by. But all this is evil. To be evil, to be wicked, be evil, ethnically. To do an injury or hurt. So they plot an injury or hurting. Physical, they hurt your pocket. Alright? To completely destroy you. It says to do evil or wickedly, mischief. So they bring into this mischief, this wicked time. It says, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And that some to fall is a majority of these people. And what is that for? To tell you what, Proverbs 22 and 7, that the borrower is servant to the lender. So all things is going to hike up. How the hell are you going to pay for anything? You got to start afresh. It says, for they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. Both the path of the just is as the shining light, and shineth more and more until the perfect day, which it goes into something different, which I gotta use that for another. But going back to this real quick, so verse 6 and 6 now, Revelation, it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts, a measure of wheat for a penny. So this is a day wage. So for this prophecy to be fulfilled, things had to happen. Zephaniah, was it 1 and 15 on 14 on down? Was it? Yeah. We're talking about the woe unto the Maktesh. Shalakia. So the ill balance is what? The things that you do for your regular, you won't even be able to purchase anything for the week. Whatever you make for that day is going to be for that day of wage, that day of what? That you eat with. All right? So that's the scripture tell you in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. It says they thought they was in a good case. Well, that good case is coming to an end. Because if he does what he does and they go in the back and forth, in the long run, it's supposed to work out. But in the short run, it's going to harm a lot of people, and a lot of people's pocketbook is going to be affected by all these things. All right? Like I said, the long run, it would be effective because it will harm both sides. And they will do what? They'll have no other choice but to give in, because that's where the majority of their money is going to go to. So this tick for tack thing is not by accident, is leverage. Like the guy said, is leverage. The leverage is what? Everything going entrusted to the elites. They're going to have the answer for everything. All right? That's why Esau is bringing in this chaos. He's bringing in this chaos. It says, for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the wine, and the oil and the wine, which is the scriptures. So all these things are going to take place. Famine is going to be nationwide, because people's not going to be able to afford anything anymore, and everything is made out of these other different nations. The bulk of it, they're already eating up the supply chain right now, taking it down. Why? Because disasters, even when the whole port in Cali, and it was sitting out for a long period of time and did nothing. This man is planning a nationwide dearth. All right, dearth. Look that up. Matter of fact, don't look it up. I just say it. Dearth means famine. They are conducting a nationwide famine, man-made famine on the planet Earth. This is why it's so deliberate. Now, the majority of people is going to think this is a great thing. But the people that's going to think this is a great thing, but we got to know that not everybody's going to be affected by it. Only people that's going to be affected by it is the very poor. So this tariff war is just that. It's war not against the other nations, it's war against its own citizens. That's the truth. So Trump is not a brilliant mind. This guy right here, he's a clown. Justin Trudeau, whatever, he's a clown. And they all taking orders. This is not their masterful plan. This is part of the bigger plan. They're all part of it. He's condemning Trump's decision. But he already knew. Alright, they are new. So this is all a game. That's why he said, matter of fact, we go back to that because that shit was funny. How did I get there? That's the way he said it though.
The European Union has treated us so terribly.
The shocking
The European Union is what? They're allies. Right? They're allies. And now more and more we understand why the scripture says the beast shall hate the whore. But something else he said before he even. This is the way he said it. It was funny.
On the European Union, you want the truthful answer, or should I give you a political answer?
And that was it. So you want the truthful answer or the political answer? He's going for broke because the elites are giving him a script and he's living by that script. And all this is going to do is affect the citizens, not these rich motherfuckers. They're not going to be affected by this. They may get the complaints, but they don't give two shits. It's going to affect the very poor of the nation, which so happens to be blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. So this is the beginning of the true end. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.